She walked into the bank with a ragged sack slung over one shoulder, her pace unhurried, her gaze unwavering. No hesitation, no stumble. Just one slow, steady step after another. Her name was Evelyn May Carter, 74 years old. Her skin bore the sun's history, dark and textured like cured leather, and her eyes were as sharp and alert as if carved from ice. As she pushed open the glass door of Franklin First Bank in downtown Fresno, nobody gave her a second glance. The air conditioning hummed, phones rang, fingers tapped on keyboards. Evelyn wasn't dressed for business. Her faded lavender dress had seen better decades, and her orthopedic shoes were scuffed. A wide-brimmed straw hat, the kind you might find in a dusty 1960s catalog, shaded her face. The canvas sack hanging from her shoulder was faded, worn, and stitched with the initials EMC. She stepped to the center of the bank lobby. "Excuse me," she said, her voice low but clear. "I'd like access to my office, please." The young teller at window 2 didn't even look up. "Ma'am, if you're here to make a deposit, you'll need to take a number." "I'm not here to make a deposit," she said. Now he looked up. So did the woman beside him and the assistant manager near the back. The silence that followed wasn't dramatic, just off. Everyone waited for her to explain. She didn't rush. "You said your office?" the teller asked, eyebrows raised. Evelyn nodded once. "Top floor, behind the frosted glass. Used to be my grandfather's. I'm here to reclaim it." Laughter erupted. Quiet at first, from a young woman near the counter. Then a cough. Someone cleared their throat. The security guard raised an eyebrow. "You own this bank?" The teller chuckled. "Ma'am, this is Franklin First Corporate Bank, not a diner. You sure you're in the right place?" Evelyn didn't blink. She lowered the sack from her shoulder and placed it gently on the tile floor. The zipper, stiff from time, slid open without a sound. Out came a folded birth certificate, parchment-colored documents, a black-and-white photo of a black man in a double-breasted suit shaking hands with a white man in front of what looked exactly like this building. Then she laid down a laminated document, faded but still legible. The signature at the bottom read, A. Ush. Franklin. The lobby went still. The teller leaned over, scanning the page. His face paled. The assistant manager approached, eyes narrowed. "Where'd you get these?" "My grandfather gave them to me before he died," Evelyn said. "Told me to protect them. Said the world would forget, but paper doesn't." "Ma'am, this can't be real." "Is that so?" Evelyn tilted her head. "You got a legal department, don't you? Might want to call them." The branch manager, whose name tag read Harold Loring, stepped out from behind the counter. He looked older than the others, maybe mid-50s. He paused, taking her in. "Let's talk in private, Miss Carter." "It's Mrs. Evelyn May Carter," she corrected. "And I prefer to talk upstairs." She pointed at the top floor. He hesitated, then nodded at the security guard. "Take her to the conference room." They led her past curious glances and hushed murmurs. Evelyn walked slow and steady. She didn't gloat, didn't explain. That wasn't why she was there. She was there because it was time. Overdue. Just before reaching the elevator, someone asked, "Wait, what exactly is in that bag?" It was the assistant manager. His voice trembled. Evelyn turned. "Proof," she said. "Proof this place doesn't belong to who you think it does." Inside the third-floor conference room, the air felt heavy. Evelyn emptied the sack onto the table, placing each item with reverence. Original land deeds, stock certificates with embossed seals, handwritten correspondence between her grandfather, Arthur Carter, and Augustus Franklin, the bank's namesake. Some pages were brittle. Others looked freshly printed despite their age. Loring stared, lips parted. Evelyn slid a yellowed document toward him. "Start with that," she said. It was a transfer of controlling interest signed in 1956. "Arthur Carter. What is this?" Loring whispered. "The real ownership. Before Franklin First was absorbed by Melrose Consolidated, my grandfather was the largest stakeholder, but his name disappeared, buried in paper. The Carter name has never appeared in our archives." "Not everything gets archived," she replied, "especially when people want it forgotten." He rubbed his temple. "You're saying your grandfather owned this bank?" He didn't hide it. He was forced out. Promised shares never registered. The merger in '74 was theft dressed up in legalese. He reached for his phone. "I'm calling corporate." Evelyn calmly placed one last document on the table. A notarized affidavit, signed by Augustus Franklin, recognizing Arthur Carter as co-founder and majority shareholder. Loring's fingers shook as he dialed. "This is Harold Loring, Fresno Branch 209. We've got a situation. Someone's here with documents claiming ownership. Originals." "Yes. I'll hold." He hung up. "Regional Legal is sending a team. They'll be here in a few hours." Evelyn nodded. "You should have done that years ago." Hours passed. Evelyn remained quiet. Staff bustled below. Tellers who laughed earlier now whispered behind glass. It wasn't shame. It was recognition. The building's foundation was trembling. Not from rage, from truth. When a legal team from Sacramento arrived, 3 suits and a woman with a heavy briefcase, the tension changed. Evelyn didn't flinch. The lead attorney, Mitchell Reyes, flipped through documents like museum relics. "I'm not here to claim anything," Evelyn said. "I'm here to reclaim what my grandfather built." She pulled a folded letter from her purse. Arthur's handwriting, dated 1961. He feared they'd erase him. And they did. "You expect us to believe no one noticed?" Reyes asked. "No one who wanted to notice. We weren't the kind of family people built statues for." They continued sorting, reading, whispering. Then Evelyn laid down a small, black ledger. Private account book. Found it in an old accountant's garage in Clovis. Shows every unauthorized transfer. Every dividend rerouted. Every forged vote. Reyes went pale. Another lawyer, Naomi Zhang, covered her mouth. This ledger changes everything," Reyes said. It did. Regulatory panic began. Internal systems were frozen. Fullness hung. Senior counsel arrived. Her name was Margaret Hale, stern in a red blazer. "If authenticated," she said, flipping through the ledger, "we're looking a legacy of fraud." Evelyn leaned in. "I didn't come to shut it down. I came to make it honest." "You're not asking for a check?" Hale asked. "No. I want my family's name back. On the wall. On the documents. Where it belongs." The legal team exchanged looks. "Then we begin investigation proceedings immediately." Word spread. A reporter, Lucia Perez, arrived. Evelyn invited her in. "You doing this for money?" Lucia asked. "Child," Evelyn smiled. "Money doesn't buy legacy." By evening, the story was already online. Evelyn Carter, the woman who walked in with a sack and walked out with history. The bank released a statement calling it a failure of historic integrity. They replaced the founder's plaque, Franklin V. Carter. 3 days later, a private ceremony was held. Evelyn wore a navy suit and the same straw hat. She stood before the new plaque, ran her fingers over her grandfather's name, and whispered, "You're home now." Lucia asked her afterward what advice she'd give. "Don't wait for permission to tell your story." The young teller who laughed the first day approached her. "I owe you an apology," he said. "You didn't know?" Evelyn replied. "Now you do. Treat the next person better." As she left the building, wind ruffled her dress. The sun was warm, her shoulders light. She didn't come for revenge. She came for truth. And the world, finally, was ready to listen.